This video will contain spoilers for the first volume of The Rising of the Shield Hero, as well as the first 4 episodes of its anime adaptation. The slave trader produced a key and opened the slave's cage. She stepped out, and he put a collar around her neck. She let out a yelp. I looked at her, quivering in fear, and felt a wave of satisfaction wash over me. I imagined that other woman quivering in fear, just like this, and it made me feel great. Aneko Usagi's The Rising of the Shield Hero is quite the popular series, so I was looking forward to watching its anime adaptation, but that excitement was short-lived. I watched the first 4 episodes before determining that the series just wasn't something I was all that interested in. Still, I was curious. What if there was something about the novels that made this more interesting? So I read the first book in the series, and you know what? I actually enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but I liked it a lot more than the anime. But why is that? Well, that's a question that's going to take a while to answer. In fact, I'm going to have to begin by asking another question. What separates compelling characters from boring characters? In order to help writers craft better stories, many authors have attempted to answer that. In K.M. Weiland's book, Creating Character Arcs, she provides her take. Even if the frameworks she puts forth won't help for every story, they still serve as a useful lens through which we can view a lot of fiction. In this book, she outlines 3 different character arcs: the positive change arc, the negative change arc, and the flat arc. In this video, I want to focus on the positive change arc. As she writes in her book, the positive change arc is all about the protagonist changing priorities. He realizes the reason he's not getting what he wants in the plot is because either A, he wants the wrong thing, or B, his moral methods for achieving what he wants are all wrong. She goes on to state that your character is incomplete on the inside. He is harboring some deeply held misconception about either himself, the world, or probably both. She calls this the lie the character believes, and it serves as a central problem in the character's arc. In fact, the character will only positively develop if he or she learns that this lie is a lie. Naofumi, the protagonist of The Rising of the Shield Hero, follows the basic beats of the positive change arc in the story's first volume. For context, here's a brief summary of the novel's first section. After Naofumi is transported to a fantasy world, it's revealed that he is one of the 4 chosen heroes who will stop this land from being destroyed. In order to do so, he needs to become strong. Since this story operates under RPG-esque logic, he has to form a party with other adventurers and gain experience points. But he's the shield hero. As such, he starts off with little physical power, meaning that it's imperative for him to get some strong party members. Unfortunately, only one woman, who calls herself Mine, agrees to join him, and things only get worse when she falsely accuses him of rape. As everyone in the society takes her side, he is left with no party members, along with a deep distrust of anyone who attempts to join him. Thus, he purchases a slave, a little girl named Raphtalia, and forces her to fight for him. From this, we can see that the lie Naofumi believes is that no one will ever believe him. By extension, he thinks that he also can't trust anyone. There are other symptoms that come along with this lie. For example, he believes that he will feel gratified if he can watch Raphtalia suffer. This also reveals another lie that he believes, the lie that all women are the same. See, that quote I put at the beginning of this video is just one example of Naofumi treating women as interchangeable. Even in that same scene when he purchases Raphtalia, he thinks, "This thing is a woman, the same gender as that one that betrayed me." I look into her scared eyes and immediately think that I want to control her. I think I could just pretend that I'd turned Mine into a slave. If she died, it might make me feel better. Later on, when Raphtalia is chatting with a shop owner, her lighthearted attitude reminds Naofumi of Mine. Though he suppresses his annoyance in this instance, he still broods, thinking about how she's reminding him of her. Later on, Naofumi specifically thinks, just the thought of women makes me remember that woman. I couldn't even think about liking women right then. This stuff is explicit and integral to his arc. After all, at the end of the first volume, Raphtalia tells him that she believes him. He hears the words he's wanted to hear, but it's not just about hearing them. It's about the fact that those words come from a woman. It's about his realization that all women aren't the same, that his assumption and bitterness towards all of them was misplaced. The anime, unfortunately, has removed almost all of this. While I understand that portraying every one of Naofumi's thoughts is easier to do in a novel, the show already has Naofumi give some internal monologues. Adding in a bit more at that point would be simple, and clearly wouldn't clash with the method used to adapt this material. Even so, something should have been done to communicate this with images. Maybe when Naofumi views Raphtalia for the first time, we could see Mine's image reflected in his eyes. Or maybe that would be too on the nose. I'm not sure, but my point stands that there are ways to show this with images. But this is also about his belief that he can trust absolutely no one. Does the anime do a good job of adapting that part of his character? Well, in both the light novel and the anime, Naofumi consistently does nice things for Raphtalia that he doesn't have to do. For example, he purchases a ball for her so that she can have some fun. He also gives her medicine to keep her sickness in check. However, the light novel makes Naofumi far more engaging in these scenes because he often reframes his own actions as something negative. First, when she's happy he bought her the ball, he thinks, good. The more excited she is, the more money I can make with her. Second, when he gives her medicine, he thinks, I can't have her dying before I make back the money I spent on her. Thus, actions that could have good or bad motivations are given poor motivations. He never forgets that she's his slave. There's not even a question. And that's exactly what makes this arc work. We constantly see that this slave-master relationship is bad, that no matter what he does for her, it is within this negative context, and the end of the novel is about that relationship breaking down. Yes, she might still choose to continue being a slave at the beginning of the next novel, but that's after a whole lot of him telling her that she absolutely does not need to do this. So his character change has still taken place. Naofumi has become a better person because he no longer thinks this slave-master distinction matters. He now has someone he can genuinely trust. The anime doesn't frame his actions in nearly the same way. We just see how he treats Raphtalia, not the fact that he constantly reinforces this master-slave relationship within his own mind. This results in a character who doesn't seem anywhere near as dead set on having a slave. We don't get to see how his thoughts and actions don't line up. The narrative throughline, the throughline from his belief in this lie that no one other than a slave could possibly stay by his side to the lie crumbling, is weakened. Thus, the anime fails to properly adapt its main character, leaving him a hollow husk of his novel counterpart. All in all, Shield Hero's anime adaptation reveals how fragile a character can be. It's not hard to completely alter the essence of who they are. Unfortunately, decisions made when adapting this material made Naofumi a far less engaging character, and by extension weakened the most important parts of the first novel. Is there still something to enjoy here? Of course, and I'm sure many people enjoy the show. But to me, Naofumi's characterization was the central element of the novel. Dramatically altering that changes the very heart of the story, and for that reason, I think the anime fails as an adaptation. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, I encourage you to check out some of my other videos. For example, I have one here on the anime adaptation of The Promised Neverland, and I also have one on the Fullmetal Alchemist series. As always, I want to specifically thank my patrons. Their generosity is greatly appreciated, and it helps me to continue making these videos. Anyway, I hope you have an awesome day. Bye-bye for now.